Okay, the name of the book is To Kill a Preacher. And tell us about the story. I was thrilled when I picked it up because I knew there were all the buzz that you were writing the book, but I never knew what the story was. So what can you tell us, give us a little hint?
It's about a local preacher who was also a pulpwooder. He had a pulpwood business during this entire time. And one of the interesting parts about his pulpwood thing, the only reason I mention it, is that when he went to the woods to check on his crews and went to the woods to look at things that were going on in the pulpwood, he wore a black suit, a white shirt, and a black tie everywhere, all the time. Wherever you saw him, that was the way he was dressed. But he had 5 relatives who died under mysterious circumstances. At least 2 were clearly murdered. There was no question about that part of it. Based on the information that I've set out in the book, I think you will conclude that at least 2 others were probably murdered also.
And then there's so many names here that of people that are still practicing, but it was, you learn, or once you do the math, you figure out you're talking about their parents, their dads.
Yes.
There's Young.
Yeah.
And
Tom F. Young was the district attorney. That's Tom Young, the judge's father. Tom Radney was the preacher's lawyer throughout most of all these things, and in fact ended up defending the guy that killed him.
Yes.
And that's Thomas's father.
Yes.
So, you know,
so when you read
it runs in the family.
and you run into these people, you know, you're realizing this is a generational thing.
Absolutely.
It's just lovely. I mean, it really is. You want to talk about when you study local flavor and local color, and just it's really a great job.
This story, though, when it was taking place, was worldwide. There were articles about it in German newspapers, English newspapers, New York newspapers, Chicago. There were reporters here for the trial. There were the first 4, two benches on each side were filled with reporters during the trial of the case.
In the 1970s, that was not common, was it?
In September of 1977 is when the trial occurred, and it was not common at all to see reporters from even out of the county here for a murder trial in Tallapoosa County.
I definitely feel a sequel coming on.
I don't know. I don't know. Yes.
So it's really great. If you haven't read it already, be sure to pick it up. How do we get it?
You can get it on Amazon, Google, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, numbers of places, places that I didn't even know sold books online.
Right.
It's available in hardback, paperback, and in Kindle and other digital. Now, this is another thing I learned, Paige, in the course of all this. I didn't know that there are about 4 or 5 different digital formats that books are published in. But apparently Google has one, a proprietary one. Some of the others have proprietary ones, and Kindle, I guess, is probably the most popular. But it's available in about 4 or 5 different digital formats.
Was there a place or a couple of places we can get it locally?
All right. Maker's Market has been keeping copies of the book on hand. Andy Tucker at the pawn shop out on 280 has got several of the books at his place. Andy's a good friend of mine, and he loved it, and of course has loved trying to help me in the sales of the thing.
Yes.
You know, at some point there may be others who'll have it locally, but nobody's. These people ask for it.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it to them.
Thank you for having it, and if you haven't checked it out, you got to read it. It's just really cool, and you're super awesome for stopping by and taking time to tell us all about it.
I'm glad to do so.